What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am your host, JJ Wang. He is the beating one DJ Dub. With our powers combined, we are the
So, JJ Wang, we are really deep into the off season. It's basically NASCAR season, NCAA tournament season, no baseball season, and I've lost track of the NBA. So much into football. NBA
Yeah,
is
I mean,
what
I do fantasy basketball, so I keep track of it a little bit. Have they said anything about baseball yet? Is it coming back?
they're negotiating. They've canceled spring training. By the time this is out, they've given a deadline early in so it would be the last day of February. If nothing is reached by the last day of February, they'll start canceling games. But we'll see if that happens because
And this is
if they
just
cancel, owners lose
this
money.
is just like the collective bargaining type thing that they're just trying to get that long deal done. Is that what this is?
Yeah, billionaires fighting with millionaires, and we pay.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to. They're trying to get rookie. I mean, it's a very simple solution as far as I am concerned. They go, hey, look, NFL's doing something right here. Let us set boundaries. We have a salary cap. We have a salary minimum. Like that's why they're king, because they're not fighting this thing where Major League Baseball, the Yankees are going to be able to pay for everybody. You know that little dinky teams like my Cleveland Guardians are not going to be able to pay anybody. In basketball, that the Lakers can pull in anybody they want at any time, and it's just luck that the Bucks have. I'm going to say his name right,
Giannis,
Giannis.
I
I wasn't
guess.
going to butcher his last name. They have Giannis, and he was loyal. So I mean, realistically, in any world other than his world, Giannis will be playing in a big city because NBA players they want generally the big three, and they want the revenue from like being in LA
But
or New York.
also the home for basketball, the home team can pay a player a lot more than if they were to leave to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
Like
the
like
max
they had
contract
that
deal. Yeah,
like they had that max contract where if Giannis can make a lot more staying in Milwaukee than he can. But I mean, if Milwaukee probably it wasn't good, Giannis would probably leave and go somewhere else. They've done a good job
LeBron.
building. They've done a good job building around Giannis, kind of
Mhm.
like what's going on. I know it's a lot of basketball talk, but
Phoenix.
you can kind of like what's going on with New Orleans and Zion Williams. Um, he's
I hear
well,
he's not a
first
good
off,
teammate.
he's always injured, and nobody. I don't think he doesn't want to be there. I mean, his team's not bad around him, but it's just like New Orleans just has that reputation for not bringing in talent. They let Anthony Davis go, and he's not going to stay in New Orleans. He's already posturing to get out, and he'll be
Yeah.
fine randomly somewhere else. He needs to lose some weight. That's what he needs to do. He's a big boy.
Well, oh, good. And I think that's the only
I
thing that
couldn't.
yeah, you're skinny real. That's the only thing that I think the NBA does have over the NFL is like a loyalty clause. Like that NFL, you look at guys, it used to be you played for the same guy. You'd be like, okay, I know that Riggins is at that point a Redskin, but you don't see that loyalty anymore. And I mean, Jerry Rice should have been a 49er for the rest of his life, but he had to go to other places because of money and because he aged. But there should be some sort of like a loyalty
There should be.
in the
It's
cap
not
thing.
only, but it's not only team, and not only player loyalty. It's team loyalty.
Yeah, well, it's both ways.
Teams aren't loyal to their players. As soon as those players, you know, start slipping up, they're like, "Oh, we're going to cut you and
Yeah,
save
true.
the $30 million that we paid you." So, I think the team's got to be loyal first, and then the players could be loyal. But
increase the penalties and increase the penalties for cutting someone early and decrease the cap hit for a guy who stayed with your team, maybe something like that. But
but
who are we? Who are we to know
I
anything
mean, I
about
mean,
that?
go play for whoever you want. If you don't want to stay somewhere, go play for whoever. If you want to
Just play
play
for
for,
Miami and let's win some Super Bowls. So
we
you know
know
who we
that's
are. We're the Fantasy Couriers. We're not going anywhere. We can't afford to. You can check us out on Twitters at Couriers Fantasy. The email us at thefantasycouriers@gmail.com. Facebook, there we are. Everything is locked and loaded. We're on Instagram, YouTube, comments. Hit us up. We'd like to hear anything else you'd like to hear about. We are this close to our 1000th listen for our nice little homegrown podcast. So that's kind of exciting as we are moving in. We are in the slow season. So thanks to everybody who is still listening to us in the off season. We're doing our best to give you what we can. This week it's JJ Wang's expert brain and my snarky comments is the theme of the next couple of weeks as we are going to hit some rookies, upcoming rookies. And I'll be honest with you, JJ, my interest, it's going to take me a lot. I got to work my tail off to work with you this year because I don't have a lot of rookie picks. So I don't really care. I'll be honest. I got one that's a number two, and that'll be whoever the first or second quarterback is. Because
you'll probably trade that away before the draft gets here anyway.
if I can get Willis, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to have to. I'll have to get him somewhere. just because I just want a piece of it somewhere. But
Yeah.
speaking of Willis, so what I tried to do here is since the combine's coming up, I think the combine's this week. I think it starts March 1st, so Tuesday, I think. But I went in there and I looked at tried to get all the quarterbacks that were going to show up at the combine. I think I got most of them. I got 13. So of course, you got the main guys, and you got like a second tier, lower level guy, and then threw in a couple FCS guys just because there always seems to be one guy that seems to show out. But I'll run through. I'm not going to run a lot of stats. Most people know them, and I'll just let you gauge interest, see if they have a chance, maybe throw out a landing spot here and there. Since Malik Willis is your guy, we'll start with him because he's the guy that seems to be jumping up draft boards just because I had the good Senior Bowl. Plays at the small school, but he can run. He's got a cannon. He can do it all. I guess the only thing negative is accuracy. That's what they say, but who knows? That could be taught in the NFL. A lot of people have accuracy problems. So, what's your excitement level for Malik Willis?
Oh, my excitement level, and it's homegrown. Yeah. Liberty's the school that feeds from our church. So that's part of the reason that I'm all about him. He made a program that kind of stunk. Be good. So it's but he is the new wave NFL quarterback. He's that runner, the big arm, we were arguing before about Trey Lance before the show. He could be similar to that, and that he's going to come in. He'll probably be a little raw. Oh, yeah. But he did. Where did he play? Where did he play before?
He played at Auburn.
Auburn. There he went. So he got some big D1 experience. Then he went to Liberty and pretty much turned that program around. Like, they were competitive the last couple of years. And this year he had a 61% completion percentage. Is that because he's throwing to Jim Smith as opposed to throwing to those name an Alabama receiver, the studs, all those studs? Like, could it be the people he's throwing to? Is it his accuracy? I think we'll see some of that put on showcase this week.
If you watch him play, you can some of his throws just aren't there. He oversplit. I know the inaccuracy may be an issue, but like I said, I think that can be fixed. Mm-hmm. You bring this. The ceiling is just crazy high for this guy. He said he can just run the ball like crazy. We're talking like Lamar Jackson style running. And plus he's a big dude, 6'2", 220. So, he's not tall, but he's thick. So he'll be able to keep up, he'll be able to keep up with the hits.
He's like what, Russell Wilson Culpepper?
Yeah. Somewhere he's a little bigger than Russell Wilson.
With Dante Culpepper kind of build.
Yeah. But he's a thick, stocky dude with big cannon. He can run fast, man. That's my kind of guy in the NFL. So switching over to another guy here, we got Kenny Pickett. He's played a long time. He's been playing since 2017. I guess he played for 5 years. I guess he's been starting for 3. Solid numbers. I don't want to say solid. Not very good numbers, really. The first 3 years.
This year, though.
13 touchdowns was his high for the first 3 seasons that he started. But this year he jumped all the way up to 42 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Kind of like a Joe Burrow type season where he came out of nowhere. Any interest in Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, I love the pedigree.
And before you say anything, go there. There is a big controversy about his hand size. Evidently, he's got a double jointed finger, a double jointed thumb. He's working it out to maybe get like a bigger hand size or something. It's crazy. But watch out for his hand size. If it comes in under 9, keep an eye out for that. That's no good. We want a hand size over 9.
Who was the little-handed guy a couple of years ago?
Burrow was little-handed.
I was thinking there was someone before Burrow.
It was Burrow. They complained about his hand size.
Yeah,
look how that turned out.
If he can hold and throw a football, I don't care what he does. Really, if you look at this class, am I right or am I wrong? It's pretty much these 2 guys are the cream of the crop that are going to go high. I think somebody will be reached for.
These will be the first 2 guys taken.
And I think it comes down to your team makeup. So Kenny Pickett, as you said, Joe Burrow, I was thinking Justin Herbert, and that he might be a little like some people might underthink him. I'm not using big words like you use. They might underthink him. They might not rank him as high as they should. So he might slip a little farther this year because everybody's saying, oh, the quarterback's not going to be drafted as high. I think it's malarkey. Everybody's going to reach on quarterbacks because it's a quarterback league. But yeah, that Joe Burrow season sounds about right. If we're worried about throwing percentages, he had a 67% completion percentage, which is only a little bit more than Willis. The running is a whopping 200 yards.
He's not a
So
great runner, but he can
he's
move
got
in the
pocket.
pocket. He's
Yeah,
he's mobile. I mean, he can move from side to side. He can get out. He had a big long run. Did you see the run where he fake slide, the fake slid, and
and then jumped
the
up.
defense kind of gave up on him, and he like just continued running and scored a touchdown. It was like a 60-yard touchdown. It was pretty funny.
I mean, they're athletes. It's where they. I mean, Burrow's had some good runs. So yeah, I mean, he's gonna be that standard pocket passer like those two, and for that kind of a team. Whereas Willis has a couple more openings, he can go on a team that's like, oh, our line's a little suspect. Pickett, they're gonna be like, oh, dude, that kid's gonna get killed, and he's gonna get Joe Burrowed in his first season, and then we'll just win Super Bowl in the second season. So it's both of them. I think teams will look at them differently depending upon their makeup, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, this like I said, I think Willis will go first. Then I think they'll both go in the top 10. So these next two guys, I'm gonna kind of lump them together. The first one is Matt Corral out of Ole Miss, and the other one is Sam Howe out of North Carolina. Corral playing in the SEC for 4 years, but the last 2 years he's really stepped out of the limelight, played really well. 29 touchdowns in 2020, and then 20 and 2021. So like say 70% passer, and and he can run a little bit. I mean, he does have six. So he had 600 rushing yards this past season, 500 last season. So I mean, he's a little more athletic than Kenny Pickett. I guess the only downside to him is his size, 6 foot 200. That's pretty small as far as NFL quarterbacks today go. What do you think?
I was gonna call him the Kevin Durant of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's all I can like. I'm seeing this giant, lanky, well for me giant,
But he's
but
not really tall. He's only
not tall. He's
He's
6'1". So to me, that's
barely,
really tall. To you,
yeah,
that's normal.
barely much taller than Russell Wilson. He's only weighing 200
Yeah. So
pounds.
he's the Kevin Durant. He's like a because Durant at least had height, but that's what comes into my mind. He's like that skinny guy, and depends upon if he bulks up, can he take the hits? That's the worry is the durability. Is he going to get popped once, or is he gonna realize, hey, I can't run in the NFL because these guys are bigger, faster, stronger. I mean, but then again, he played at Ole Miss. That's SEC, so he got
Yep.
hit.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not like he didn't. So he's gonna be. He could be gonna be a project. I'd say probably he'll probably as quarterbacks go like in that mid first round, early mid to early first round. I still think with desire for quarterbacks, he's got legs.
Yeah,
Not as many legs as the guy you're going to talk about in a
I think
second.
him and Howell will both be like mid to late first rounders. I'm guessing. Like you
I
said,
think this guy, we might be seeing play closer to home.
yeah. So we got Sam Howell. He came onto the scene, had a stellar rookie season. 3,600 yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Kind of like tailed off a little bit after that. Of course, he was losing his players. Javante Williams. Who's the other running back? Michael Carter, I
Michael
think.
Carter.
And Diami Brown. All these guys were leaving. So this year, his passing wasn't great, but he had 828 yards rushing. So think of like maybe so he's 6'1", 220, so considerably bigger than Matt Corral. At 220 pounds is right where you want him to be. He can run the ball. He can sling it a little bit. I'm kind of excited about how I think maybe he would fit good in a place like Pittsburgh. I think he would be there at the 20th pick. I think that's where Pittsburgh is at, number 20.
There's something about him that feels like not exactly he's bigger, but he feels Russell Wilson-ish. We've thrown that name around a lot
Yeah.
today. Whereas he's got that ability to run. He can pass. He did have kind of a not great, didn't jump up like he was supposed to this year, like they thought he would. But the point of him losing when your backfield are starters in the NFL, that's pressure off of you. And I mean, he doesn't play in the SEC. I mean, the ACC is not pushovers, but yeah, I think late first round, but that's where Russ fell. Was the late first round, and that could
He
be.
was
Oh no,
third. He
Russ
was
was third
third
round.
round. He was
Yeah,
third round.
I loved him too much that year. I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I'm
I
fired.
mean, I think he's good. I mean, put him like, of course, I'll put all these quarterbacks in the right system. They'll be a little better. This next guy's the wild card. Played for Cincinnati, and of course, Cincinnati was really good these last 2 years. I mean, they finished.
Mm.
They even made the playoffs this past year. And that's Desmond Ritter. So 6'4", so he's tall, 215. He's got the build. Uh, so this year he had 3,300 yards and 30 touchdowns. And then rushing, he can rush a little bit. 355 this year, 592 last year. So, I mean, this guy's that dual threat guy too. Right along the lines of Matt Corral, but just a little bigger. Of course, Corral played better competition. Cincinnati not playing all that great. But, I mean, still put up impressive numbers. I mean, I would probably take Ritter over Corral, just on because he's a little just because he's a little bigger. What do you think?
I, I can't argue any of those points. I think that last point you said is what makes me wonder because Corral, there's questions about him, but he had to play the Alabamas.
Yep.
I mean, once again, it's the SEC argument. Like I hate that the SEC is so big because it sort of ruins college football for me. That everything really great is there, and you got to be stellar around. I mean, he was on a great Cincinnati team. So was the team great because of him, or was he great because of them, or something in between? We'll find out this year when he depending upon where he lands and if we get to see him even like he might be one of those great players that we don't see for 3 years. He could be some guy that falls in and Russell Wilson starts or starts like your boy Davis Mills.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Davis Mills. That's the
but I
whole.
mean,
That's the whole show right there.
he's our example, Davis Mills. But yeah, he's the bit. I think he's ginormous question mark. I would probably still go Corral higher because of pedigree and long range. Who knows? Because it's the NFL and who's seen some of these guys who you thought would be good quarterbacks stink and be good.
Yeah, that's why I brought up so many guys here because we just don't know how they're going to be. Like some guys you think in college, this guy can never make it. Next thing you know, they're stars in the NFL. It's crazy. So that was the top five. I'm thinking all those guys probably go in the first round. I'm guessing maybe early second. But these other guys are going to go late. We'll go through these a little faster because they're not as big name guys. The first one is Carson Strong. He's a big dude, 6'4", 215, so he's tall. He's got a big arm. He doesn't run the ball, and he does have injury concerns. I say he runs negatively, actually. And then the other guy, Brock Purdy, out of Iowa State. He had a huge 2019 season that put him on the map. And then after that, he kind of came down to earth. But I mean, he's played all 4 years. He's what 6'1"? He's 6'1", 220. So he's just as big as Sam Howe. Of course, he played for Iowa State, so he played at the big schools. As far as rushing goes, where does it pop up?
2021, he had
Yeah, so I mean, he can scramble just like Pickett a little bit.
245, yeah.
238, 382. So he can move around the pocket a little bit. But I'm just not too strong on Purdy. He's
You're not
okay.
gonna like this then. The comp I found on some of the places I'm looking. Do you know who they comped him to?
Russell Wilson.
Davis Mills.
Oh.
Davis Mills, Jalen Hurts, and then Real Greer. So I'm looking at some sites and where they're comping to like guys from previous years that came through, and they put Davis Mills as a comp they have. So yeah, as you go with him. So yeah, it's
So
two
what do you
guys
think?
here.
So are you interested in Carson Strong, even with the injury history that he has? That's going to be big when it comes to his at the combine when they do the medical part of it. I mean, if his knees can are good to go, I mean, might be second round pick, maybe somebody
Well,
might jump.
that would make him to me a closer comp to Davis Mills because that was the fear of Mills coming out of Stanford was those bum knees. I mean, I am a little scared when you run for negative 208 yards. That is a big flag. But if you can sling the ball, I mean, what are Peyton Manning's career rushing total?
Yeah, I mean,
It's probably about 7. I don't know the real truth, but I'll find out for the end of the show. But you got to figure out what kind of a team you are building.
yeah, I mean, these quarterbacks are still relevant. Of course, Tom Brady doesn't move either, and
Yeah.
he's good. What's the other guy? What's the rookie from last year that plays for the Patriots? Mac Jones.
Mike Jones.
He doesn't run either, but he's solid. Now, of course, they got Bill Belichick and he's Tom Brady, but there's still places for these kind of quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins don't run, but he's still solid. So I mean, there's a place for these guys. So these next 3 guys, I'm kind of interested in. They kind of put up some gaudy stats here. The first one is Bailey Zapp, plays for Western Kentucky, so they're new to FBS. Check out this guy's stats, right? First off, he's 6'1", 220. So he's the same size as Sam Howe and Brock Purdy. So in his senior season, he put up 5,900 yards, 62 touchdowns. Crazy. And also, he doesn't run a whole lot either. So, I mean, that's a negative. But this guy likes to sling it all over the place. He might get a chance. And another guy is Dustin Crum out of Kent State. little bigger, 6'3", but he's also kind of skinny. He's like a Kevin Durant type. He's only weighs 207. Skinny guy. 221, 3,200 yards and 20 touchdowns. He can also run a little bit, 703 yards rushing, so that's a positive. Then the last guy is Caleb Eberle. He's probably my least favorite. Doesn't run a whole lot. He's on the same level as Carson Strong. He's not great. He doesn't have a big arm, but he was invited to the combine, so somebody might show some interest in him. Does any of these three guys interest you at all?
I'm curious about the Zap kid. He's arm strength is the way you overcome anything in the pro game if you're not going to be the new age running quarterback. I mean, thing is for us, we're talking fantasy football. Oh, yeah. So he's got to sling it. He's got to throw a lot of yards to be any good for us. The moment you start talking about Dustin Crum, all that I thought about was Julian Edelman. Is he going to be a receiver one day? Because if he's that tall, skinny kind of guy, maybe he sits there and he goes, wait a second, I'm looking at these other six guys. Receivers are king in football these days. Like fantasy, it's running backs, but receivers are they're who gets the ball. And maybe he sees the stars aligned there. But Zap did come from D2 to jump up. So at least he has that experience, unlike some of the other D2 guys you're going to talk about in a second. So he's intriguing, and I wouldn't mind if I had a double team throwing a double quarterback league in the fourth round, throwing a dart throw at him. But we're getting to the minutia stuff. You need deep rosters.
All he needs is an opportunity. I mean, I think they said last year there were 62 quarterbacks that started a game, right? So, yeah. I mean, you got Ian Book for the Saints started, the 7 Giants quarterbacks who started. So, I mean, all he really needs is, an opportunity. Will he succeed? Who knows? But, I mean, he likes to sling it. I mean, that's proven. So,
I mean, if you're worried about Corral, you're not going to like Eberle anyway because they're the same size as they're going through. So.
But Eberle doesn't have like the athleticism. I don't think he's
but or the experience. Like the experience is not gonna be there.
Yeah, he got invited, so I thought I'd throw him in there.
That's because he can cannon arm. He can sling. He's a cannon arm quarterback. And as with Zap, that might be what gets him over the hump. Maybe he oversees Kellen Mond.
I mean, if Kellen Mond can get a spot in the NFL, like some of these guys can definitely do that. So I picked up 3 FCS guys. These are some of the better players, better quarterbacks in FCS. There usually seems to always be one. So these first 2 guys, these guys are gigantic, right? So I got Akil Glass out of Alabama A&M. So he's 6'5", 215 pounds. He doesn't, hold on a second, not much of a runner. He's kind of like on the Carson Strong number type. So he doesn't run, but he's got a big cannon of an arm. I think he has 33 touchdowns this past season. Of course, he plays for A&M, so who knows how good he really is. But, he can sling it all over the place. 36 touchdowns. And then the other guy, this is probably my favorite, Cole Kelly. So 6'7", 260 pounds. He's got a big arm. He threw for 5,000 yards and 44 touchdowns in his senior season. He goes to Southeast Louisiana. Of course, it was his best season. So 6'7", and he can also run the ball with 491 rushing yards. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive for a guy that big. Does he interest you at all?
Logan Thomas.
When
I hear 6'7", is as a quarterback, being big will help him.
But Logan Thomas never threw for 5,000 yards.
Yeah, but Logan Thomas, he was on a better team too. I mean, Tech was a decent squad as they're going through. So, I mean, I do like the size. If you're you need something to have you stick out if you're coming out from the FCS. And of those 3, I'm with you on Cole Kelly being the one that sticks out. Well, any of them stick. It's as I think our theme of the day is, it depends where in the world they land, what kind of coaching they get. So it's.
I mean, somebody's going to fall in love with this guy. I mean, it's just so. I mean, will he stick? Yeah, I don't know, but somebody's guaranteed to fall in love with this guy. And then this last guy, this one's like probably the biggest start throughout all of them. It's kid's out of Brown. He did get recruited to Boston College to start. Then he transferred to Brown. He missed the 2021 season. That's EJ Perry. He can rush the ball as well. He had 400 this season and then 700 in 2019. Plays for Brown, so who knows who they're playing. Not the greatest competition. Only threw for 3,000 yards. This guy probably doesn't get drafted, but like I said, he was at the combine, so I threw him in there. It was even kind of hard to find any videos of videos of this guy actually, but yeah, I'm not too excited about this one.
No, he looks small in pictures of his line. Like he's probably he's gonna be a good. He could end up being one of those great backup quarterbacks who ends up being a good coach one day. I don't know. I got nothing on him. I am starting to fall in love with this Glass kid. I just love seeing his hair sticking out.
Oh
He looks like the kind of quarterback I want to root for.
Yeah, I mean he's a big dude if you watch him. He's got the big arm. I mean, he looks fun out there. If he could just like scramble a little bit, probably help him out. But who knows? We got somebody with that big of an arm, same as Kelly. They're big dudes. They're going to get. Somebody's going to fall in love with them, man.
I think so.
But yeah, that's all the guys that I got. I think that's all the quarterbacks that will actually be at the combine. I think, and maybe one or two more that I might have missed. So it looks like you're Malik Willis guy, maybe Cole Kelly there at the end of the draft if you're got $1 or $2 to draft for the auction league, maybe.
I'm going to offer $1 or $2. We have one guy. What does he have? $1,400. He can't get. He'll run out of roster space.
You got $1,700.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like I'll offer him something just to get a couple dollars so I can just play the game. But yeah, so real quickly as we wrap up, let's think about some of these. We really talking about these top 5. We're looking at Willis, Pickett, Corral, Ryder, and Howe as far as where they might fall. So I'm going to go down the draft order. You tell me when you hear a ding ding as to when you think a quarterback will fall, and then we'll go from there and who it will be. So Jacksonville, nah. Detroit.
I say ding, 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 and I say they go Malik Willis. I think by the time these guys see Malik Willis out there running around in his shorts and slinging the ball down the field, their quarterback's going to fall in love with this guy. I can just see it. So I think the Browns take Willis first quarterback on the board.
I would even say the Lions would do it too. The Browns.
Oh, the Lions, not bad. Lions.
I'm 100% with you. I think that's going to be because so if he goes number 1 overall, it's because Jacksonville got the farm. Maybe the Giants trade both of their picks because they want him. That would be the only real, or all three, whatever the numbers are. That would be the only person with the leverage to jump up there. Maybe Philadelphia if they really love the kid. But yeah, I can't argue with that one. So we're going number 3 is Houston.
No, they got Davis Mills.
Jets.
No.
Nah. This is where my next one is, but I think I'm going to skip this pick. So the next 3 picks are Giants, Panthers, Giants.
So I think the Giants hold tight. I think they go. They stick with what's his face one more year, give him another shot. I think, but I don't think they draft him that high. Like you said, if somebody was to jump up, it'd probably be them. But I think the Panthers definitely have to get a quarterback, and I think that's where Kenny Pickett goes.
So you have Panthers. I was going to say that. I was going to say Kenny Pickett to the Giants because they're intrigued by the kid. They'd be like, hey, we've seen this Jones. We're doing all word speak now, kind of like the Dolphins are trying to help Tua's feelings last year when they really wanted Watson, or anybody does it in general. But they're like, new regime. Let's get going. Let's go with Kenny Pickett, the young gunslinger, build around him. And we can't wait till 7 because Carolina's right there and they want him, which is why I had Corral going to Carolina.
That makes sense. I mean, if the Giants were to pick, I think the Giants might be in the Deshaun Watson race with their high draft capital that they have. So watch out for Deshaun Watson. I have a hard time seeing the Giants doing that. I mean, like I said, they do got new coaching come in. Who knows? Like I look at through the eyes of fantasy. I think everybody should take offensive players, but there'll be a lot of defensive guys.
A lot of defense at the top there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Giants are more prone because they have those double picks that they'll be able to get a lineman or a defense, something.
Yep.
A big guy and a quarterback's my thought there. So you go, I got the Giants taking Pickett. I got Carolina taking Corral. You have Carolina taking Pickett. The Giants go again. You said they're still going to skip quarterback, correct? At 7?
Yep.
Number 8, Atlanta.
This is a tough one. I think Atlanta's one of those teams where I don't think they draft a quarterback. I think maybe they try to trade Matt Ryan if they're in for a quarterback, trade him somewhere for one of the free agent type quarterbacks or one of the quarterbacks that's on the block. So I think they stay tight. I don't think they draft one.
I see them looking for like Howe, see what they can do with him because they know they don't need him this year. I mean, I could see Howe or Ritter, either of those going there, but there's something that's I feel about Howe in that system as they go on. You go to Denver, obviously. Who are they taking?
I think Denver's another one that goes for the free agent
Ah,
quarterback or going for the trade. I don't think they go with one of these guys.
the Jets. No, the
Uh,
Commanders. I got to say it for the first time.
I do think the Commanders take one, so I think it's a toss up between Corral and Howe here. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the Redskins took Desmond Ritter, kind of like Mahomes going away up to number 10. No, don't get me wrong, I'm not calling it, but like how the Chiefs jumped up to get Mahomes at like what 10, 11, something like
Yeah.
that. So I mean, if one of these the Commanders fall in love with Ritter's talents, where he can run the ball, he's got a big arm, he can get out of the pocket. Would be so. You know what? I'm gonna go surprise. I'm gonna go Desmond Ritter to the Commanders.
I gave them Carson Strong because that seems like the dumb thing they'll do. Okay, then we're going to Minnesota,
No, I think they either stick with Kirk Cousins or they trade for somebody.
Cleveland,
Nah, I think they stay tied with Baker.
jumping. New Orleans is at 18. That's the next logical spot.
That's a tough one too. I think maybe if they do go after one, I think this is where Corral would go.
Okay.
I think he would be a nice fit there. I mean, they're just coming off of Drew Brees, who's a shorter quarterback that can scramble a little bit. So it's kind of like the same quarterback there. Of course, they don't have Sean Payton, so who
And then are
knows
you
about
sending
that?
Hal to Pittsburgh?
And I think Powell goes to Pittsburgh. Yep,
There you
number
go.
20. Yep.
I got it locked in on our docket. We'll see if we remember to come check that out later on. But just a fun little thing. We'll see more. We'll know the answers in about it's gonna be 2 months to the draft. So we talked about this for a while. But give us some closing out. We've talked for a long time today. Let's let everybody go back to their day jobs after
Yeah,
they get some wisdom.
get back to work. But like I said, quarterback's my favorite position here. And if you're in a 2 quarterback league, I mean, quarterbacks are the most important, right? I mean, they got to go early, they got to go often in fantasy. So I mean, I'm talking all 5 quarterbacks probably go in the first round, top 5, right?
I hope
I think.
I hope they don't go till number 2 so I can have my choice. But
Oh, yeah. I think you'll definitely have a shot at Malik. I don't know. He might go number 1.
well, I can get Willis or Pickett. Willis
Yeah.
can play this year. That's why I could see him passing because they got the golf contract. So it's tough for me. Like I like the logical spot of Willis, but I think with the golf contract for another year, they might wait to next year's better draft class.
Yeah, I'm seriously considering jumping up to the 101 in that one where you have the 102. I really would like to jump up there and try to put a play in for Willis. So I mean, I might try that because it's gonna be
Go
about the
for
only
it.
spot, only spot that I get. And I think I got a lot of trade bait. But yeah, get your quarterbacks, man. You ain't gonna win a championship without quarterbacks. Get them all, as many as you can get, all of them.
And as always,
And as always, trust yourself and trust the process.